so glad you are here this morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you are tuning in. And today I have a very, very special guest. This is one of my dear clients who's become a dear friend and has gone to really do some amazing things in the world, open multiple businesses. She has a business called, I believe it's called Hummingbird Communications. I just know it has hummingbird in it, which is amazing because it's all about the soul of joy. And that's just really who she is. This woman has such a huge heart for children, for adults, for just people all over the world. And she has been through a lot in her lifetime. And I'm just so honored to be able to call her a friend and to have her as a guest. So Lee, welcome.
Thank you, Abby. Wow. There's first for everything, aren't there, huh?
Absolutely. Your intuition puts you right where you need to be.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, yeah. Hi, welcome everybody. So Abby is amazing. Intuition. Like it's an interesting word that has a lot of connotations in different circles. How do you describe intuition?
Are you asking me?
I am.
So intuition is that inner knowing, right? So I often, as you know, talk about it as a gut feeling, but it's really centered in the heart, right? So it has to move through, I call the tunnel of love in our hearts, because when we connect to each other, the whole world from our heart, we are in love, we are in presence, we are in that universal oneness. And then from that place, our gut can guide us like a compass, right? So it can kind of say, hey, go here or go there. But the first step is really to move into the heart. So to me, your intuition is really your soul embodied, right? It's that highest aspect of you that just knows the way. It knows your highest potential, your greatest ability to serve, to be happy. And it's funny, ironically, when we serve each other, we're kind of serving ourselves because we're one, right? So when you have that heart of generosity, you are always blessed, right? I know that's like my driving force is service, right? And then I get so blessed. So you're not so much worried about the me, right? The single self. You're how are we in the we? How are the togetherness, basically? So yeah, I'd love to hear your definition. What's that?
How are we in the we? That's a beautiful thing to say, Abby. How are we in the we? Well, I just want to get really small, like on a molecular level. I remember in my first biology classes, my very first high school biology class was led by a Jesuit priest. And I don't know if you know, but Jesuit priests have an interesting history in the world of religion. And I know there are so many entanglements in this modern world with religion and spirituality and science and politics and life, and everything is in a messy entanglement. And my first biology teacher taught us about the amoeba, the single-celled amoeba, right? Which is an organism that contains its whole life in one cell. And that cell has energy, it has intelligence, it has life. And so therefore that life force is its intuition. That intelligence, that natural intelligence is its intuition. And it cannot function like a human being that's made of trillions of different cells, all states of matter at the same time. Yet when I reduce it down, it was like, I want to be a single-celled amoeba. I want to just know what I know and just move the next blob forward, you see, and really disentangle from the false complexities that this world presents to us. This weekend we did part of a group called 1 Million Meditators. It was started by a lady named Anita Morrow up in Toronto, Canada. And she started this 1 Million Meditators about 5 years ago. And we're almost there. But one thing I noticed in meditation, which to me is a practice I am so grateful for, because it allows you to get to that 0 point, to that single cell amoeba, where you're really just, what did you say now? It was so perfect, but you're recording this, so I'll be able to like listen to it again. It was the we are the we, right? The disentangle so much that you are totally aligned with your uniqueness and listening to your own heart and making your choices for your highest and best good, to your advantage, not to what society dictates or a synthetic energy that is trying to make your natural life force choose something that isn't for your highest and best good. And that was a really complicated answer, but it is that idea that the cells themselves communicate, the energy communicates, the electrical charges that we send out and that we receive is communication. And yes, we call our company Hummingbird Communications. And really it's because the hummingbird is the doctor bird, which is a hummingbird with a beautiful long tail, similar to Quetzalcoatl, is the national bird of Jamaica. And I know you know that my husband is a Jamaican filmmaker, so there you have it.
So awesome. I love that. I love that. And you are the joy so much. You bring so much light. And I know you were considering doing some work with children in Jamaica when I talked to you years ago. How did that project ever go?
Well, it's always, let me put it this way. Decisions I've made from my brain, and I love my brain. I have a very good brain. I've trained my brain and I love knowledge and I love to learn. So, but I made decisions only from the brain. And I've learned now that the energetic work that's required for transformation on the global scale that we've been talking about since we met cannot be accomplished with the brain, because it has a certain amount of force. There's a certain amount of force if we only act from the brain. And I suppose you could say, in my world, my brain is like my masculine and my heart is like my feminine. So, and and my brain is like my dad. Like, he was a real thinker. He was a super global thinker. I mean, he had these massive ideas, and he, was born in the 30s and lived through the 50s. And so he had a very patriarchal, very sexist, very dominating type of way of doing things. So and again, to say, okay, so if my mind is my masculine, my heart's my feminine, then my gut is like my power, right? That's where my power is. And when those elements of myself were separated, so I was acting only from my brain. So, to long story short, no, we did not get the schools off the ground. We started in January of last year. We filmed our first Echoes of Jamaica show, and it was a teaching show. So everyone involved learned how to run the cameras, learned how to set the lights, learned how to set a stage, learned to learn lines, learned to deliver lines. So it was really a lot. Learned about costume. It was a lot of fun. But the connection didn't quite get made. We did meet the Prime Minister of Jamaica on the trip home.
Wow.
And then so we haven't been able to go back to Jamaica and really, start the project. And we call it Studio Schools. And my dream is to have to have a system and structures of learning that doesn't put the learning into boxes. So, for example, Haiti suffered a really massive earthquake, and its capital city was completely destroyed, and to date, it hasn't been rebuilt. J.K. Rowling created an orphanage financing company called Lumos. And she's centered in Haiti. And my idea is to work with the Heart Academy in Jamaica, which is the trade school, and Lumos in Haiti. And the way I envision school is that it's truly a proactive, community-centered, bless you, community-centered way of learning where everybody's involved. So, for example, in the trade school, they don't learn building. They don't learn construction, yet their city has completely been destroyed and needs to be rebuilt. So we bring in experts who know building. They teach the students how to build. And what are they learning? They are learning geometry. They are learning mathematics. They are learning design. They are learning engineering. They are learning, okay, all of those subjects, art, aesthetics, community, building guidelines, rules. They're learning how to collaborate. And at the same time, they are providing the community with a need that it requires. For me, history and social studies would be far better served if the students were studying the social structures that we have in place. What are the elements of organization of our governments? What are the intended outcomes of an office of government? Why do we have 3 branches of government? How do they work together? And so on and so forth, and actually rate the people who are quote unquote hired or elected, rate them as to their performance based on what it is that we're supposed to have. What are they learning? Well, they have to learn the history of how this government came to be. They have to learn the structures of business and how economics and trade and different structures have to work together, and they're involved in their communities so that when they become a voting age, they actually see, well, okay, yeah, this is how my life impacts our community. This is what I expect from my community. And they're all learning and growing, and our communities are proactive, because the isolation of our schools, of our teachers, of our classrooms, of our thinking, of our social structures has led us to a world that is very disconnected and discombobulated in so many ways. And then, what are the choices we have? Well, let's go to war because I just lost $10 million in that deal with Alibaba and his 40 thieves. I mean, I don't know. It's also ridiculous the way it's set up. And wouldn't it be much more exciting if we were learning and active at the same time? It seems to me.
Yeah. Well, I love that you just shared your dream and how you've been taking steps toward it. And I guess I really just invite everybody to tap into their heart, to move into their center, that deepest place of connection of, what your dream is, where your heart is calling you, and where you feel prompted to move your feet and your being and really share the light that you are. I know that, sometimes it can feel scary, and the frequency of love is the absolute highest frequency. So that's why when we make decisions from our heart, we are in alignment with our intuition, with our highest self, right? So, as you were talking, I mean, I had a couple flashes. So, as you know, I used to live in Oregon. I had this beautiful place by the river, and I'd go running. And I remember one of the times, I think it was around the time that I knew that I was working with you, Lee. And I was like, I had this inspiration to get my boyfriend at the time a massage. And I didn't have the money at the time because things were just tight. But I'm like, I love this person so much. I really, really, really want this for him, right? So my heart of love, wanting to do that for him, within 2 hours manifested a new client to pay like $200 for a session, which more than took care of his show. And even the move out here was love for somebody else, right? Like love, paved the way for thousands of dollars at that point, right? Like it kept growing. And the principle was the same. When you're coming from the heart, your love, it makes all the connections that need to happen for your dream to come true. Right? I mean, Oneness Talk Radio came on that connected us with the orphanage, that we're building out with and working with the kids. And we're so lucky there. Normally they don't even let us videotape, but they're like, it's okay because if everybody wears their masks, you can, So things that wouldn't normally happen. Miracles open. And that's the power of love, right? So, whatever your dream is, even if you don't think there's a way, it doesn't matter because there is. Your heart knows. So exactly like you've experienced. And I've had times where I'm like, oh, well, I should do this. And I follow that thought. And it's like, well, that didn't work. It's so disconnecting from who we really are. Because if you think about even our body, I mean, the chakras, right? The lower three and the upper three, they are connected at the heart. And our physical body, the very center of our body is actually our heart, right? So it's kind of fascinating when you think about, how intuition works. It's fueled by love, and the action that's taken. I keep seeing this little phrase that says everything with love. And when you're like moving in that flow, the world continues to open. So I just invite everyone listening to open to your heart, open to the miracles available, really in every moment. And it's kind of like love never fails, like our first class in the program is the foundation of love, because anything that's built on love will sustain. It just will, because it's the most solid force. And if something comes up against it, it'll eventually brush off it once you figure out what it is. Like I got hit with those energies you were talking about, energies that aren't really you, and actually just worked with another client in Canada. And this is so cool. So out of the blue, like last week, I get this call from the student I hadn't heard from probably 4 or 5 years. And she's like, my daughter wants to talk to you. Her intuitive child was like, I need to talk to Abby. It was just amazing. And I needed to talk to her too, right? But her daughter is just incredible. And so, you'll be sent people at the right time when you're in that frequency, right? And it was around like getting the COVID test and everything, all this weird stuff. I was like, okay, keep on your purpose of helping kids, right? In that moment of me saying yes, she emailed. So you'll get confirmation when you're moving in alignment, right? And it'll feel good. But full circle, yeah, just coming back to the love, right? And that, children are especially tuned into that, and really working with boundaries. So, if there's an energy coming in that doesn't feel like you and doesn't feel aligned with love, just stop it. It could just be like return to sender, surround yourself with the golden light, and put your hands on your own heart and be like, what's true for me? Right? Because like I said, I literally felt I got sideswiped. I was like, whoa, that wasn't me. I absolutely believe there was energetic things coming last year that we were just kind of like, whoa. So really to center in your heart now and move forward in now with the love towards your dream, and know that you are supported, protected, and guided by love. So yeah, is there anything you wanted to add to that, Lee?
Well, all right. So perhaps I should have called my business Octopus Communications, because I need like 8 arms for all the different parts, instead of Hummingbird. One of the areas that I met some people when I started my doctoral degree on transformational learning, which was, this is what I've learned in 30 years of teaching public school. This is what I know. This is what really works. And it's actually what you've just said, teaching and allowing everyone to expand their capacity of self-awareness. Because the more we inhabit our body, and it's funny, trauma can send your psyche, and if we go back and look at even the Greek myths or the legends of Psyche, well, what is Psyche? Psyche was a god, and it's the energy of thought, the energy of what makes the non-manifest manifest. Like you and I are looking at each other, and there's a lot of energy that makes it possible for us to see, hear, and feel each other with our senses. And self-awareness is being so inside your body that you can course correct. So for example, I'll just give you an example. You might not know that you're allergic to almonds, for example, until you eat an almond and your body has a reaction. However, if you have tuned the self-awareness muscle that we all possess, which is the ability to read your energy and all the energy around you and feel that alignment of joy, because that is the natural state of peace. It is the natural state of everything, is a state of homeostasis or balance or peace. And that self-awareness muscle, when you've learned how to use it, you can be in any situation and course correct the energy. You can know that you're allergic or your body doesn't want the almond right now because the chemistry of your body or the balance that it's in right now cannot handle the chemistry or the energy of the almond. You can know that even before eating it and having an allergic reaction. So this self-awareness is one of the pillars of our school. We've actually started classes here in San Luis Obispo County in California. The school is called the Peace Academy of the Sciences of Arts.
Wow, that's cool.
And one of the pillars is self-awareness, because when you're self-aware, you can avoid the energies that are going to trigger you out of peace, love, trust, integrity, unity, and that capacity to have and manifest those things that you really want from your heart. Mm-hmm. So it's a very important key, and it's something that your generation knew more than my generation did, and each subsequent generation, should we continue to choose love, is going to know and understand what that means. So for example, in the community I live in now in Morro Bay, the ocean is in a lot of trouble. The bay isn't cleaning itself naturally. It's got more pollution than it can handle. To be self-aware and to be using your intuition in community is to listen and observe and work together with others so that the solutions can come in, because there's always more than one solution. That's another thing that I have really learned about operating from the whole self, from the gut, from the heart, and from the brain, while remaining as self-aware as possible and really reading the energies around you. And knowing that I'm not going to approach someone who says, uh, we should drop bombs on the whales, because who cares about the ocean? And I'm not even going to have conversations with them, because I know that their knowledge, their set points are so disparate from where I'm at that we won't be able to communicate clearly. However, if I listen and find the solutions, then I will be given methods or ways to communicate with those people whose eyes and hearts are shut to what I might have to say, but I can approach them from a way where they can actually hear me, and we can put our energies together towards solutions that are future thinking, not just, like you said, me, and mine.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I think you're going to attract conversations from your heart, right, to people who are on the same wavelength, right? So you're probably going to attract people that want to save the ocean, right? So it's like you're going to have those people come in and have those conversations.
Well, and going one step further, people who are taking action, and that action guided from the heart in a unity perspective. What you'd said at the beginning, this force of we, the honesty of it. So, and we all have the capacity to do that. And intuition and that power is not something to fear. It's really something to nurture and nourish. And when your fears come up around it, you recognize and know that they're either counterfeit coins or their beliefs. And really, what is everything? Everything is an examination of what we believe and how it affects our lives. Like you said, I made a choice and I didn't like the outcome, so I'm changing my choices.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And seeing, how when I make choices, and we all make choices from our hearts, the outcome is amazing, right? When you're making a choice from your intuition and your heart, miracles happen, right? And so I think, we can, and I've gotten afraid before, right? And it's like, oh my goodness, and you actually leave your heart, you leave yourself, so you can actually come back to your heart and know that wisdom is still there. And that is the greatest wisdom. It is the intuitive child within, and also the intuitive children walking on our planet right now that know that wisdom.
I think you're touching on something really important.
Yeah.
Because you said fear makes you leave your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, and I might say it actually just creates a belief, or it triggers a belief, an unconscious belief that you weren't aware of. And so, I mean, even fear is a belief.
Yeah. Right.
However, the traumatic experiences that generate those beliefs, those are something that I feel learning and experiences with others that create safety and that create opportunities to tune into the solutions and then take action that then creates new beliefs. That to me is a forward motion that I am nurturing at the moment. That's a creative, not tool, but muscle, I suppose, a creative muscle that I'm learning to really strengthen right now. and to be able to face what is, recognize the trauma and the horror that it's created, and the fears and the belief systems that get solidified, and work to help soften those belief systems so we can attract these solution energies that are more creative, more beautiful, more compassionate, more kind, more healthy, for all of us, for all life, you know?
Yeah, I love that. Again, coming back to unity, and I do believe, yeah, we are together in it, right? Like we're all connected, and there's something you can say that's not helping somebody else that, is so much more beneficial than just sitting alone. So there's definitely a community aspect. And I'd love for you to share your information. If people want to reach out and connect with you, are you doing private intuitive success coaching sessions or any type of work where people can reach out and do some one-on-ones with you?
Uh, yeah. When I was, my last 20 years, I was involved in literacy development. And for me, literacy and learning is a human right. And actually, if we look at the 1947 UN Charter of Human Rights, it's one of them. So I'd like to call myself a literacy coach. I work in so many different ways. So if somebody were feeling stuck in a trauma, if they felt like they had a trauma that they needed to work through that was causing them to feel a hardened heart, or that they didn't feel safe to open their hearts, I can help. I have several different modalities that I've learned the last couple of years. And it all boils down to energy. Einstein said the future of medicine is energy. So if you want to improve your health, if you want to improve your wealth, and if you want to improve your happiness and your relationships to yourself, life, and others, yeah, we can do something. Connect at leecolver.com, leecollver.com. That's my email. That would be the easiest way. I have a live show that I'm doing twice a month as well. And I'm going to be starting some programs with the Sophia Code by Kaya Ra. And that's an exploration into your direct communion. And that's for people who are really interested in being a stand for their spiritual freedom. It takes a lot of courage to do that. So yes, and I'm teaching theater. So there's all sorts of things I can do with people. I've got a class called Kindergarten for Grown-ups where we use theater arts and writing to get in touch with that inner child and chip away some of the calcium buildup on our heart. So it's a little bit softer and more fluid and more open.
It's beautiful. I know that you had sent me a way that they can get access to your show. Do you want to just share the link where they can go online to get that?
I could. I want to.
You're welcome to type it in the chat. I'm not sure if everybody can see the chat.
So I've just put in our school, and donations are always welcome. And my show gives splits its donations between whatever the person I'm interviewing, the charity of their choice. So when I interviewed Dee Wallace, all of the funds went to Save the Children at Christmas time. I know for you, it's your Costa Rica and Thai orphanages that you support. My computer's not cooperating.
It's actually the one in Ecuador, but that's okay. Yeah, I think they can
Oh,
see,
Ecuador. Okay.
I think they can see this one, Lee. So Peace Academy.
So that is, and here's,
Is that,
yeah,
is you can get access to your show?
no, that's just for the school, so they can see what we're doing. They can see the structure of the school, the way we teach curriculum is there. Our first and only live summer that we had a week with high school students, and we actually practiced what I attempted. So we went to the refugee camp in Jordan. We met with the Secretary General of the United Nations. We met with the mayor of Slough. We met with all of the environmental groups, and each of the students created a project. So one of them had a project where he was working with a young woman in the Ukraine, and it was just after the time when Russia had invaded the Crimea again, and there were so many Ukrainians dying in the war, civilians, not soldiers. And so he was working with them and another boy from the Amazon when the Amazon caught fire. And so they were creating grassroots groups, young people groups. Another one sent the Equal Rights Amendment to the one state that was holding out, and they got the Equal Rights Amendment passed in that state. So now it's just a question of getting the Senate to ratify it, and actually women would have equal rights to men, finally, in this country. Anyway, put the landing page for Conversations with Love in there as well. So the first one is the Peace Academy. That's the structure of the school. And I don't know if you know, Marianne Williamson was running for president at one time, and she created a whole part for the Department of Education, and she called it the Department of Children and Youth. And it was to create what she called palaces of learning. And that, to me, defines the purpose of school completely. So if anyone's interested in knowing more about our philosophies and how we run schools, and it's based a lot on the Reggio Emilia method and Montessori. It's very experiential. And also another theory that educators may know, constructivist. So you're actually constructing your knowledge and then building it because you're sharing it. It's a shared inquiry. So you're constructing your own knowledge and then you're sharing it, and that expands it, just like we did today. Thank you, Abby Gooch.
Of course, that's beautiful. So I think everybody can see the chat, but her website is https // mail chi.mp /2caf 587 cdcb /conversations with love to inspire joyful action. So beautiful. So I'm pretty sure everybody can see that chat because I made it available to everybody. So yeah, I recommend you checking that out and following Lee on her show and just getting to know about her and how you can be more involved in her school. And also, just that trauma work sounds amazing. I know I've experienced a lot of trauma, so I think that's a very valuable thing to offer people. And I'm sure they can just, chat with you via email, set up an intro session with you and get started. Yeah.
That would be wonderful. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Abby. I didn't expect that.
You're in your heart. It's the way it works. So I'm going to start opening the phone lines. If anybody wants to call in, you can call 858-692-4555 if you have any questions that you want to ask either Lee or I. So yeah, Lee, is there a way that you would like to share with people of how you started to follow your intuition? And as you did, what started to manifest in your life? I know our work together you did, and even before that, you were just so tuned into your intuition, right? So it helped you to say yes even before. So what is the process that you use to connect with your intuition?
Well, it's ongoing.
Hmm.
It's completely ongoing. And wow, that's a really loaded question. I would say, okay, what was first the first spark was taking an art class. And I was just feeling very stuck in my life. I was feeling very dull, very gray, very dull, very uninteresting. I wasn't, things weren't, it just, I felt so off. I didn't feel connected to others. I didn't feel connected to my family. I didn't feel connected to myself. I was probably in a really big depression too. I was probably depressed and not very hopeful. And what started it was a book by Julia Cameron called The Artist's Way. And it's a book that took you through a series of exercises to get in touch with your creativity and to start building again. And then so then from there started the morning, what she called the morning pages, where you would write stream of consciousness for 3 pages. That was your job. And then from there, so that led me to the Chopra Center's 21-day meditation challenges with David G. And so then I learned how to meditate. And so that, each action led to a step that allowed me to expand and find the courage to face what was causing me to be so depressed and disconnected and uncreative. And to recognize that it really is it's really a cultural anomaly that keeps us so suppressed, repressed, and oppressed. And it's our connection to nature, really, which is our connection to spirit, which is our connection to ourselves. So it started with writing, just writing stream of consciousness and not thinking about what it was. And that led to finding more. That led to learning to meditate. So those were the 2 things that helped me. And also, because I'd been in some very serious automobile accidents, that focus on my physical body and to find healing and to find relief from pain also led me to discover people like you who are working with the energy of trauma and disease to see, okay, we can cultivate health by shifting our perspective and recognizing we've got the power internally to heal everything. And that power is love.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so beautiful. I think, sometimes it's easy to see in others. So I always saw that in you, and then for you to see it in yourself. So it's kind of like we show a mirror, but then we face it back and it's like, wow, I am love, so for you to discover that. And I remember when you would just step into your power. And I mean, you were somebody that like blew through the systems. Like when I knew you, when we were doing our coaching stuff, you were getting beyond the systems of even just the educational systems. And it was so inspiring to watch you. be able to do that, and there's so many people I've worked with, back before COVID hit, when everybody was, out physically. It's like their lights were meant to be in corporate America or in the system, just in the school system, just to have their lights present, their physical body present. So there's always reasons why we are where we're at, but I also see how you transcended that and created something else with your new school. So it's really beautiful to watch that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very cool. And that's really cool that your husband does the film stuff too. I don't know if there's anything you want to add about that, or if there's a way people can find the films. That's pretty
cool. My gosh. Yes, I'll put up our station. Hold on.
Oh, look at her, Joy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he started writing again, and this one is going to be his story. And I'm so excited. Because it's a
Hollywood producer or something. I thought you told me about that.
Oh yeah, his first show was The Waltons.
Okay.
Which you might not even know. It might even be before your time.
Sounds familiar, but I might have maybe briefly watched it. Is it in black and white still, that show, or no? Okay, yeah.
Although no, it's okay. He's done many films, many films and TV series and commercials too. But
okay,
so I just put in the chat our YouTube channel, which is Hummingbird Communications. Beautiful. And we've got some old films, and then we've got our new film up, The Echoes of Jamaica, and we're in the process of, he's writing another story, and that's all I can tell you right now. So beautiful. We're really excited, and as soon as we can travel again and it's safe for us to go into production, we're gonna produce this next story, which is going to be really fun.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure everybody can see this chat. If not, do you want to just share your email again if for some reason they're not?
Oh yeah.
Just if you could just say it out loud, because I think everybody can see the chat, but if not, they could just send you an email.
Okay, so my email is connect, the word connect, at leecolver.com, LEECOLLVER.com. Perfect. And then our Hummingbird Communications YouTube channel, you can find it, just type Hummingbird Communications. And it's got a couple of different shows on there, some older shows. We made a feature in the 80s, which is quite something. Yes, so, and the studio, it's going to happen. I mean, it's all going to happen. Like you said, the more we allow, the more we ask, we accept, we allow, because we have to be able to allow and receive the information or the people or the events that are going to help us make the next step. It's like if I'd gotten Julia Cameron's book and I don't read it, well, it's not going to help me get to where I need to go. And then if I don't act on the exercises, that's one of the things I really want to share is do your very best to love yourself. In other words, when those judgments come up, when your inner critic comes up and says, oh, who do you think you are to want to be a screenwriter? Who do you think you are to want to be a filmmaker? Who do you think you are to want to change and improve the structures of a school system? Who do you know? What kind of money do you know? And on, the excuses will come. But just don't let that judgment be your ultimate guide. Keep going deeper, keep going deeper. The Biskines, wonderful people I've met, they wrote a book called Code Breaker. And they call it the Platinum Life System: peace, love, awareness, trust, integrity, neutrality, unity, and mindfulness. And they have 4 questions. What am I focused on? And how is it making me feel? Or how am I feeling? And what am I focused on? So if those feelings of judgment or self-doubt or not good enough come into play in your life at any time, ask yourself, how is it making you feel? And are you focused on your gratitude? Are you focused on what is really good about you? Because guess what? There's a lot that's good about you. And are you focused on the love? Because that is what leads us forward. The more we focus on what brings us joy and peace and love, that's our true nature. And the more we focus on that, the easier and easier creating becomes, and the easier and easier it is to access these solutions that really truly improve the quality of our lives and help us stay organized and help us stay the course when it's not as easy.
Yeah, I love that. So beautiful. So well said. I love it. Let love lead the way. It's so beautiful. I love it. So beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
I was curious, I think we have about 10 minutes left. If you want to guide us through like a trauma release. So anybody that might be experiencing fear or hardness of the heart, like my heart wants to do this, but I feel afraid and it triggers this trauma or whatever, there's maybe like a 5-minute exercise where people could soften their hearts and feel the resistance of fear starting to just kind of fade away and let that heart wide open, feel safe in the expanse of love's embrace.
Well, the first thing I would do is 10 jumping jacks or 10 push-ups. That's the first thing I would do. Or get out your jump rope and just jump. Or spin. Spinning is another really good one. If you're in the northern hemisphere, you spin clockwise. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, you spin counterclockwise. And literally, this is a Sufi thing. And you just put your thumb in front of your hand, and you just go around, and you go around in increments of 11. And the first time you do it, go, spin 11 times and then hold here until everything settles down. And then, move up to 22 and 33. And ultimately you want to get to 111 spins. But if you're feeling physically heavy, do something movement. Like you said, you went for a run in nature. Do something where your body can move. Go for a swim. Do some jumping jacks. Stretch, but move, really move. And then, or even shake. You can do that you can shake in a bathroom if you don't have any privacy, just shake. So let's just do it. Just, stand up and let's just shake. And then I'll lead you through a little meditation to kind of just get the fear out. So just stand up, just shake, gentle shake. Let your hands go. Just let your body shake. Let it move. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And then take a big breath in. Big breath in, other side, out through the mouth. And whenever you're ready, just let your eyes close. And take a few deep breaths. And just allow yourself to feel your body in the chair. Let yourself feel where your body's breathing. Can you feel it in your tummy? Do you feel it in your nostrils? Do you feel your chest move? Just allow your body to breathe however it wants to breathe. And just notice it. Just notice your breath. So already just in a few deep breaths, you can feel your body relaxing, feel your shoulders dropping, feel your spine aligning, feel your organs just softening. Just allow it to happen. And allow your feet to be flat on the floor and your hands just resting lightly, palms up in your lap. And just notice your breathing and just be right here this second. And with your permission, ask your body to create this beautiful ruby red grounding cord that's as big as your, imagine the circle around you, just totally holds you, and it goes all the way down. And if you feel anybody tugging at you or asking for it, just hand it to them and make yourself another one. But let this ruby red grounded cord go right into the earth. And just kind of take your awareness into your heart center. And just breathe in that place and imagine something that makes you feel joy. Could be a place in nature, could be a pet, it could be a child, a baby, a person you love. Just feel what it feels like to feel pure joy. And then just send that feeling through that grounding cord to the earth. And see, sense, or imagine that this living planet receives your love. Allow yourself to feel that connection. When joy meets life. And allow the love that this planet has for you, your being, your life. And feel it just coming up through your feet. And as it comes up through your feet, gives every one of your organs a massage, because the bottoms of our feet have a connection point directly to every organ in the body, including the skin. And let that love come up and anchor in your heart and spin out in a counterclockwise direction. Just keep noticing your breath, and thoughts may come and go, and people may come and go. Just imagine them floating out the grounding cord into the love of Mother Earth. And see, sense, feel, or imagine the expansive light that is you. Some people call it Father Sky, some people call it God, some call it Source, some call it your higher self. Just see, sense, or imagine it above you, and allow your heart to go to that place you have, that knowing place, that love place for all that is. Really feel the love you have for life. And send that love up to Source, God, your higher self, your soul, whatever you call it. Feel that connection. And feel the love for Source come back to you. And let it come through your 8th chakra and your crown chakra and your 3rd eye chakra and your brain, and let it just soak through your brain and through your eyes so you see with love, through all the grooves of your brain, and let it just soften everything. Hear with love, let it come through your throat chakra and speak love. Let it anchor in your heart and spin out in a clockwise direction. And now you've just ignited your threefold flame of divinity, and let everything in your human body that doesn't belong to you or serve your perfect health, let it just go through that grounding cord. You can even imagine this beautiful golden white light just attaching to the glands on top of your adrenals that create the fight or flight chemicals in our body, and just allow it to drain out. Just allow it to drain out.
I'm gonna have to. We have another show coming up, so it's so beautiful. So I want to invite everybody to continue this process with Lee. And you can email her at connect@leeculver.com. And I would love to stay on with you. I just know they have another guest on the station, so we're actually going to have to hop off. But thank you so much for everyone being here and just shining your light. And just may you just feel blessed and encapsulated with this beautiful, transparent light that she just took you through, and let that support you. Namaste, everyone.